Hello, my name is Brenda Schivito, and this is You Are Not Alone, the show for news, tips, and above all, stories of hope for those struggling with substance use disorder. There are so many wonderful people in the recovery community who are doing fabulous work to help others not only get sober, but encouraging and leading those individuals to serve others in the process. I guess you could call it paying it forward and leading by example. My guest today is doing just that and more. Darnell Hinton wears many hats. To name just a few, not only is he a man in recovery, but one who leads others to pay it forward by giving back to his community in so many ways. He is the executive director of the nonprofit organization Teach One, Feed One, the chief executive officer of Unity Sober Living Homes. And something I just found out is that he is also an audiobook author. I'm so proud of all the work he is doing in our area with these people in recovery and the community at large. I cannot tell you how happy I am to have him join us to talk about his journey to recovery and the impact he's making in the community he so passionately serves. Darnell, welcome to You Are Not Alone. I'm so happy that you have time to spend with us with everything else going on in your day.
No, I'm grateful to be here. Thank you so much. It sounds like a great platform, and I'm truly honored that you would think of me to come on here. So thank you, Brenda.
So good to have you. Well, we can dive right in and just kind of talk about where you've been in your process with addiction and recovery, which of course has led you to wear all the hats that you do today.
Of course. So yeah, I am about a little bit under 4.5 years sober. But that process obviously did not happen that quickly. So I started using, I think, when I was 21 years old. And I think that process went on for about the next 8 years. So I used for about 8 years. I've been in and out of treatment. I've been to about 9 or 10 treatment facilities. I've done everything that you can even imagine. I was, what they describe as drug addict, junkie, whatever. I was bottom of the barrel. No one wanted me around. My family, friends, no one wanted me around. And, by the grace of God and with the help of my family and my friends and my support system, now today we have a little bit over 4 years. So I'm extremely grateful for the position that I'm in today.
Congratulations. That's wonderful. I always love to hear when people, they make it. It doesn't always happen, like to your point. It's not one size fits all and it's not one and done, but it's a continuum over a lot of times many years for people and several different visits to rehabs and just working to get it right.
Absolutely.
So that's wonderful. But can you tell us the difference between being sober and truly living and walking in the shoes of a sober person in recovery? Is there a difference in your mind?
In what aspect?
Well, somebody could go to inpatient, do 28 days, come out and say, hey, I'm good now. Go home and, pick up or maybe not, but maybe they're not following through with any kind of 12-step programs or they're not seeking out people in the same mission that they're on. So do you think that there's a difference? Because I see a difference. I see a difference in even like people like you. Can I use you as an example?
Absolutely. I'm honored. So, yes, to answer your question, just through my personal experience, if I didn't work a program and if I didn't do the things that I do today with Teach One, Feed One, giving back to others, I don't think I'd be in the position that I'm in today. This is the reason why I am sober. That is the reason why I have 4.5 years clean, because I understand that the mission that I'm on, and I wake up every day and it's not about me. It's bigger than me. And it goes far beyond just myself. And I think just in life in general, when you struggle to find like that why, and if your why is internal and it's just you, it's going to be difficult on the days that you have like struggles and adversity and days you feel like giving up, because when it comes time to give up, the only person that you're going to be letting down is yourself. But when you have a much broader why, and when you have a much broader purpose, and there's people who literally like look up to you and they count on you to be there, giving up becomes a lot more difficult, because not only are you letting yourself down, but you're letting down an entire community of people who look to you for inspiration.
So community is a huge part, what I've seen around me, of people being successful in their recovery and carrying on in a sober life. It's that sense of community, people on the same path.
Exactly.
To get and stay sober.
Yes.
Because it's a lifetime of work. Would you agree?
Yes.
So going into Teach One, Feed One, it's your nonprofit. And can you tell us about your nonprofit?
Of course. So Teach One, Feed One is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Our mission is everything we do, we believe in eliminating the stigma attached with addiction and challenging the way the disease is approached. So with that, we provide hope to individuals and families who have been impacted due to the disease of addiction in any way that we possibly can. So we got started in the Kensington section of Philadelphia, mainly because anyone who's even a little bit knowledgeable with that section of Philadelphia knows that it's one of the worst drug-populated open drug markets in America. So, and it's part of my story as well, personally. So we got started in that section of Philadelphia, just going down and handing out cosmetics and clothing and offering resources and offering assistance to help individuals get into treatment. But along that process, I would say, either 9 to 12 months into that process, I started noticing a lot of other resources doing the exact same thing in that area. And not that they were doing anything.
Great.
Right.
Wonderful.
Right.
Can't get enough.
Not that they were doing anything wrong or we were doing anything wrong, but the mission that I was on and the mission that I wanted our organization to be on was much bigger than that. And I wanted to impact a lot of other families and a lot of other individuals. So we reshaped some things and we started doing a lot of other things that didn't involve around that, and still included going down into the Kensington section of Philadelphia and providing needs to the homeless community, but branching off and doing a lot of other things as well.
Well, and in other communities as well.
Correct.
Outside of Philadelphia, the suburbs, which nobody is immune from this horrible disease of addiction. So you went into other areas, but not only other areas of the suburban Philadelphia, but even like globally, let's say nationally.
Yes.
I'm not going to say globally. That's maybe your mission, your goal someday. But you went out into other parts of the country. Can you tell us about some of that?
Yes. So we've been to Atlanta, Georgia. We've been to Cleveland, Ohio a few times. We've been to Houston, Texas. We've been to Washington, D.C. And I think I may be missing one. Didn't
you say you went to Oregon?
No, not Oregon.
Okay.
That was just an example that I would like to at some point. But we decided that why can't we do the things that we do here in other areas of life and in other areas or geographical areas of the country. So, for example, when we went to, I would say, let's just pick one, for example. When we went to Atlanta, Georgia, we called a local sober living home, and I spoke to the owner, and I basically told him, hey, we're a nonprofit organization from Philadelphia. I used to live in a sober home myself. I know how it is to work a job where I was literally making $7.25 an hour, and after I pay my rent, I don't have any money left over for food or anything like that. So what we want to do is we want to come into your area and your home specifically, and we're going to go out and we're going to spend about $500 on groceries, and we want to bless the house with groceries for anyone that can have the groceries. So we did that, and we did other things very similar to that, but that was kind of the idea of just expanding to other areas and doing different things like that.
That's great. And one very noteworthy one, paying it forward, as you will, that you did was you gave away a car.
We did. Can
you talk about that? That is just amazing.
Yeah, we did.
That's just great. Tell us how that came about and walk us through that.
So I would say, personally, this is where it kind of derived from. My first 2 years in sobriety, I didn't have a license. I didn't have a car. My license was suspended for my first 2.5 years. So if I had to go to work, I had to walk. If I couldn't get a ride from a friend, which in a lot of cases I could. I had to take the bus. I had to ask my mom and dad, which is pretty embarrassing as well for me at 30 years old to ask my mom and dad to drop me off at work. So all of those things, honestly, they sucked.
Sure. Absolutely.
So I wanted to find someone who kind of fit that description, or who was taking Uber like I did a lot of times, and I didn't have money to take Uber. A lot of times I was overdrafting my bank account.
Just to get to work.
Just to get to and from work, where I was making $7.25 an hour. And this is reality.
Sure.
So I was looking for someone in that same exact position, and we wanted to bless them with a vehicle to try and make their life a little bit easier. So contacted one of my friends who at that time had a sober living house, and he told me about a girl named Brianna who was approaching 1 year of sobriety. She had a son who she was traveling, I think, back and forth to Allentown on the bus to see her son every weekend. She was, getting to and from work, depending on friends, and doing whatever she could, taking the bus to get to and from work. And I said, perfect. We're going to get her a car. And we found a vehicle. It was a Mitsubishi Eclipse, I think. I don't even think they make them anymore, to be honest with you. So red Mitsubishi Eclipse. We found it. We got a good price on it. And we went to Pottstown. We knocked on the door. We surprised her with it. It was beautiful. She loved it, and it was it was really nice.
Do you still have contact with her today?
We do, and she's still clean as well.
That's wonderful. Yeah. That's great. I'm so happy. It makes an impact.
Yes.
And I'm certain, and I'm sure that by your example, she's out there paying it forward.
Yes.
To others.
I know she is.
And helping others, and helping them get along. So with that, let's move on to Unity. I mean, that's another hat that you wear. You have Unity Sober Living Homes.
Yes. Primarily
in Pottstown. And how did you get into that? What motivated? Well, I can kind of guess what motivated you to do this, but how did that happen?
Well, to be honest with you, I didn't expect it to happen. It kind of just fell in my lap, if you want me to be honest with you. So we gave away the vehicle. And, I gave away the vehicle to the girl, Brianna. We went up. I was talking to the guy who owned that organization at that time. And he asked me to come and speak at his house meeting the next day. To be completely honest with you, I had a million other things to do, but...
Did you really now?
I did.
I'm surprised, Darnell. But...
I gave the man my word. I told him I would come, so I came and I showed up. I spoke. And like many other times when a speaker's finished, you kind of, at the end, you kind of congregate with the others and you exchange phone numbers. I didn't think anything of it. I exchanged phone numbers with a few people. And I want to say maybe 2 days or 3 days later, some unfortunate happenings took place. And let's just say some unfortunate happenings where he was no longer in a position to oversee the organization. And one of the individuals that I exchanged phone numbers with, I reached out to him just to say, hey, is he okay? Is everything okay with him? And we kind of talked for a little bit, and he said, yeah, he's fine. He would like you to reach out to him. But there's 60 residents who don't have a leader, and there's 60 residents right now who are on the verge of being homeless. And I said, okay. What are you saying? What are you saying? What are you saying right now? And he said, Matt speaks really, really highly of you. And, I think, he would be honored if you spoke to him and, we did this thing together and we took over. And with permission from him and with a lot of other things transpiring, that ended up happening. But to kind of put it all together, if we don't give that car away to that young lady, then he doesn't ask me to speak at his house meeting. And if he doesn't ask me to speak at his house meeting, I don't exchange phone numbers with that gentleman. And if I don't exchange,
don't even meet them.
I would have never met him probably to never even have that conversation. So that's how it came about.
Do you think he'd be in the sober living home aspect had that not happened? Maybe not. Maybe not.
Maybe not. I had plans to, but it kind of never came about. So I don't know.
Divine intervention. That's the way I see it, right? And how many homes is in your network?
6, and we're working on our 7th as we speak.
And they're in Pottstown. And how many men's houses and women's houses?
We have 5 male houses. Right now we have 1 female house. The next house we open will be a female house.
And do you accept medically, MAT, medically assisted treatment?
We do.
Okay. That's interesting. It's good for people to know.
Yes.
Some houses do and some don't.
Yes, we do.
Okay. That's great. And how many beds total?
I want to say 63.
Wow.
63 total beds.
Wow. That's great. That's wonderful. So what is the mission of the community and programs that they offer? Like, what's the mission? Not even the mission. Like, let's say with the goals of Teach One, Feed One, and Unity. Speak about them a little bit. Like, you have short term, then you have long term of what you see happening over time.
Of course. So I guess I'll start with Teach One, Feed One. I want Teach One, Feed One to become essentially like the American Red Cross for addiction. So anyone who's familiar with American Red Cross knows that they respond to tragedies or disasters caused naturally, like Hurricane Katrina. When that happened, American Red Cross was there with food, resources, lifeboats, whatever they can offer. I want to do what we do here, but all across the country. So basically, if there's, I'll use Oregon, if there's a 4.0 student just graduating high school, valedictorian, or even if he's not, and he's all set, he got a full ride to go to college, and I guess maybe he was getting into some things or involved in some things that maybe his parents didn't know about, and maybe he had an accidental overdose. I want to have us and my entire team fly out to Oregon and see and meet with this family, and let them have their time of grief, but sit down with this family and see what we can do to honor their son in any way that we possibly can, and acknowledge that first, his name's not going to go in vain.
Right.
And second, we want to try and if they're okay with it, use his name to kind of impact others for years to come.
So, yeah, speaking of that, you do scholarships now?
Yes.
Okay, can you talk about that a little bit?
Yes.
With the Unity Sober Living, correct?
With Teach One, Feed One.
Oh, Teach One, Feed One.
Yes.
Okay, so how does that work?
So we have, I think we have right now, we have 5 scholarships, and each of the scholarships are named in individuals' names who are no longer with us. So, for example, one is the Ned Felici Scholarship. And Ned Felici is someone who is no longer with us, but he had a child before he left. And now, unfortunately, his child is going to grow up without his father. So I would like to think that his child is going to be impacted due to the disease of addiction. So the scholarship is called the Ned Felici Scholarship. And what we do is every year on the day that Ned passed away, we show up to the family's house, and the family selects a recipient, a child who has been impacted due to the disease of addiction. So I don't do any of the selection. We have nothing to do with who is selected. It's completely
up to the family.
It's completely up to the family. It's completely their choosing. All we're there to do is write the check and honor their son. That's it. So we show up, and they kind of take, in a way, they take a day that was very, I guess, tragic and in many ways still is, and sad, and they kind of turn a celebration into it. So they invite all their friends, they invite all their families, they order food, they, in a way, it's kind of a good time. And like I said, it's a celebration, and they get very emotional, and they have fun. So.
That means a lot. I'm sure that means so much to these families, and it's a way, like you said, to honor them and turn a tragedy into something more positive moving forward, to remember their child.
Correct.
Which is great. That's wonderful. So with Unity, what are your goals? You have almost 6 homes.
Yes.
And is that number going to be growing? Are you content with where you are with that?
Well, I am content.
Right.
Unfortunately, in this business, there's a stigma with the more homes you accumulate, then you kind of get a stigma for having the wrong motives.
Okay.
Which I can see why someone would perceive it that way.
Right.
But, I also see it in the fact that I believe so much in our program and our mission and what we're trying to accomplish that it's not really so much about that. It's about getting our program in front of as many people as possible, and getting what we're doing in front of as many individuals as possible, because I'm not here to talk bad about anyone's program. I think there are hundreds of great programs out there, but I strongly believe in our program, and I would like to get it in front of as many people as possible.
Tell us a little bit more when you say program. What does that mean, or what does that encompass when you say the program? So
I'll start with our mission for Unity, and our mission is everything we do begins with rebuilding and ultimately reintegrating sober individuals back into society, fully equipped for life's demands. So when I was living in a sober living house, and they were great homes, but there were some things that I noticed that, in my opinion, I think I wanted to change. So For instance, we have something that is unique in the aspect that we offer a life skills program that is completely voluntary to all of our residents, but it's strongly encouraged. So we have a financial literacy program where we have a professional, we have a partnership with Superior Credit Union, and they bring a professional in and they just teach the basics of developing a savings account, credit card versus debit card, unsecured credit cards versus secured credit cards, how to write a check. And they're typically able to get individuals signed up with bank accounts right there on the spot, which you'd be surprised, or maybe you won't be surprised. A lot of these individuals don't have bank accounts. We also have a credit rebuilding portion, which is our next class actually, where we bring in a professional and they teach individuals just the basics of getting in the mindset of how we think about credit and how credit is not a bad thing. Credit is a leverage tool, and credit is something that you need if you want to do anything in life. And no one's
get a car, get a house someday, apartment, rent, whatever. Yeah,
whatever.
You need credit.
Right. You need credit. So we have a credit program. We have an entrepreneurship program for individuals that are looking to branch off into entrepreneurship. We also have a criminal reform program as well for individuals who have records who may think that their life is just maybe kind of down on themselves in a way. All with the mindset that we want to be the opposite of just a traditional recovery house where you come in, you pay your rent, you stay sober, and you just stay here forever. That's not my job. My job is not for you to stay here forever. My job is for you to...
We want room for other people coming in. That's like,
Right, but I want, if I'm doing my job correctly, I want these individuals to come in to utilize the tools that we have here in the program that we have set forth, and my job is to help you get to the next phase of your life. I don't, as much as I love you, I don't want you here forever.
And what's the typical stay? How long do you like to see individuals stay?
It's a tough question because everyone's process is a little different. So I would say it's a little subjective, but maybe 1 to 3 years. You know, everyone's process is a little different, and what might take someone 1 year to kind of financially get some things together and get in the right mindset might take another individual 3. So I would say 1 to 3 years, but I'm just having a conversation with a very nice young lady the other day. I was letting her know that, listen, what can I do to help you get to the next phase of your life? Because as much as I love you, I don't want you here forever. This is not, I want to help you get to the next chapter of your life.
Graduate to the next phase. So it's like 1 to 3, whatever those circumstances are, whatever they dictate. And there was something else that just came to mind. I forgot to mention it earlier because we keep flipping back and forth in the different hats you wear. But you also have a program where individuals can get haircuts.
Did
I see that? Is that Teach One, Feed One, or is that Unity?
So that's Unity. So I also, if I'm being honest with you, when I was living in recovery, I'm a guy that likes to keep my hair cut very nice.
That's great. That's vanity. That's wonderful.
And I didn't always have the money to do so. So one of the things that we wanted to implement is once a month we bring a barber in, and he cuts everyone's hair. It's free to them. It's not free to us, but he cuts everyone's hair. All the guys who want a haircut, completely free of charge. And we encourage them, if they have the financial means to do so, to tip the barber. But if they don't, then they simply don't. And we also, for the girls, the girls are a little bit different because it's a little bit more pricey, but periodically we'll take the girls out to get their nails done, their feet done, if they want to do like a movie day or like a dinner date or something like that, whatever the case may be.
That's great. It makes them, it makes people feel better when you look good, you feel good. There's no doubt about that. So, you look in the mirror, you got a new haircut, there's nothing like it. Really, that's great. That's wonderful. And it makes them, it makes them feel better in their self-esteem.
Of course.
And whatnot. So now in Unity, do you offer any kind of, and I don't know, so I'm asking, do you offer any kind of like job prep or interview skills or, maybe not resume, but filling out applications? I know probably everything is now digital, everything's online, but presenting the individual for a job?
So we have actually another, in my experience, another unique aspect with Unity is we have a case manager on staff who her job is actually to meet with every single resident that comes through our doors and ask what she can do. So if they need IDs, birth certificate, transfer of benefits, resume prep, job application, help with filling out job applications. And that's another thing that we don't So if they need an ID or if they need a social security card, we take that and we cover that as well. So they don't even have to worry about paying for it.
That's great. Because how many come and
All of
they
them.
don't know where
Almost
all
all
their
of them.
stuff is.
Almost all of them.
They've lost their wallet. They've misplaced. I mean, I don't know where my social security card is. I got the number, but I don't know where the card is.
Me neither.
But it's important, valuable information. That's great. And I'm not going to say to my surprise, but something I just recently found out is that you're an author to a audio book titled "To Those Still Struggling."
Yes.
Can you tell us about what that is?
Yeah. So "To Those Still Struggling" is I think it's a 10-track audio book. It's available on all streaming platforms, and it basically walks you through the perspective and the mind of someone who is in active addiction. So I think one of the first track is titled "To Those Still Struggling," and it walks you through someone who is in active addiction and what that feeling and what is going through their mind from the time they wake up to the time they go to sleep. And another one of the tracks, just to name two, it's titled "If I Was a Girl," and it kind of goes through like the mindset of a girl and different experiences, because men and women are different, and they go through different experiences when they're going through this process. And it kind of bridges the gap, and it kind of relates to them in a way that makes me as a man understand, or at least try to understand what they might have gone through, and let them know that, if I was a girl, maybe I might have done some of the same things that you may or may not have done. So it's very interesting.
And who is the audience?
As far as
listening to these audiobooks, is it for somebody in recovery? Is it for siblings of someone in addiction, families? Who would benefit or who would enjoy listening to this?
I think, if I'm being honest with you and I'm being as humble as possible, I think
always are.
I think anyone can benefit, because it's, in a way, it's very it can be very inspirational. But I guess directly, yes, someone in recovery, someone in active addiction, parents of loved ones, siblings with loved ones in active addiction or in recovery. I think it can be very impactful,
because we have a hard time understanding it. When our loved one is in active addiction, it's very hard to wrap our heads around what that is like, and to understand, why can't you just stop? What is this about? Why can't you just stop? And we don't understand that. And to your point, people who are struggling, it's a totally different place that they are in their life because of the disease and what that causes in their mind and in their body and their spirit.
Yes.
So I think that's wonderful.
Thank you.
Wonderful. In the last little bit of time we have left, our time went so quick. You have a golf tournament coming up. Can you share information about that?
Yes, our golf outing is going to be September 26th. It's going to be at the Jeffersonville Golf Club. It'll be our 4th annual golf outing.
Great.
Sponsorships or foursomes are available. We also have sponsorship opportunities. And we're looking to have as many people as possible come out and get together for a good cause. To benefit people in recovery and people struggling from the disease of addiction.
That's great. That's wonderful. And that's being held up in Jeffersonville? At
the Jeffersonville Golf Club in West Norton, Jeffersonville.
Okay.
Yes.
That's great. That's wonderful. Darnell, we've covered so much in such a little amount of time. I'm sorry. So if somebody wanted to get more information about Teach One, Feed One or Unity, I think we have a slide up. Is there anything you wanted to add?
Yes. So our website is www.teachoneFeedOne.org. For Unity, it's www.unitysoberlivinghomes.com. And then we can be followed on social media, on Instagram and Facebook, for Teach One, Feed One as Teach One, Feed One, and then for Unity Sober Living Homes, just Unity Sober Living Homes as well.
Fabulous. It's been wonderful. I wish we had more time. Maybe we'll have you come back again.
Okay. I'd be happy to.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today. I'm so happy to have had this discussion with Darnell about all the important and impactful work he is doing. I'm Brenda Schivito, and remember, you are not alone. If you or a loved one needs help or you would like to donate, please visit us anytime at angelsagainstaddiction.org. I believe together we can help save lives. Thank you.